All right, and welcome to episode 18 of What is Hitman Roulette. Today, we're going to be talking about Chongqing, or better known in the community by people who can't pronounce the name right as China. This map is absolutely incredible in several different ways. It's one of my all-time favorite maps in the entire trilogy. I absolutely adore this map. It's got a lot of positive things going for it in many regards, but despite the fact that it only has 2 targets, and is an otherwise quite small map, even though I'm the kind of guy that really prides myself in the enjoyment of the bigger maps, like the Big Five, for example, Colorado to Berlin, those types of maps. This one stands out in my mind as being something really special. It's the tallest map in the game. It shares that stat with Isle of Scale, but despite that, it's actually not that big of a map, all things considered. When you're traversing through the fortress underground, like the facility area, it may seem a little bit daunting at first, but once you figure out where you're going down there, you realize it's actually not that big of a place. But even the smaller environments in this map are super interesting with tons of detail involved. The target interactions in this map are super interesting. You can have both targets meet up and kill them at once. You can lure one target halfway up. You can leave both targets where they are. You can bring one of the targets downstairs. There's so many ways to manipulate the targets in this map. It's a lot of fun to work around all of those different ideas and concepts. So despite only having 2 targets, the potential variety involved in this map when it comes to roulette spins is pretty good. A lot of the time you're going to be bringing Imogen halfway upstairs with a drone lure, which we'll explain a little bit later, and for Hush you're going to be isolating him in his deprivation room a lot of the time. But above all, the thing that I need to mention about this map, before I go into anything detailed about spins or anything like this is the most gorgeous map in the trilogy. Just fucking look at this shit. I could just stand here in the rain looking at these neon lights and beautiful colors, the dark skies, the ocean front. I could be looking at this shit for hours. And in fact, I have. I've spent hours just running around this map just because it's so fucking sexy to look at. I love this map. The way it looks aesthetically, there's not one single map in the trilogy that comes even close to being as aesthetically pleasing on the eyes as Chongqing is. It's freaking incredible. That's my opinion. I know that a lot of people probably don't share that. I know a lot of people probably have beautiful things to say about maps like, Hokkaido or Sapienza or maps like that Santa Fortuna. They're all gorgeous fucking maps to look at too, don't get me wrong. But Chongqing is my style. I'm a dark and brooding kind of person. I like the whole dark and brooding concept. Batman is my shit. This map reminds me of like Chinese Batman. It's freaking sick. So you got that going for it, and on top of that, it's just a really well-designed map for roulettes. You can argue that this might even be one of the little 6 maps. You could say it is, because a lot of the spins in this map can easily be done in sub 4 minutes, sub 5 most of the time. So really there's an argument to be made that this map could fit into the little 6 section, but I choose to leave it out because about 55% of spins are going to be over 6 minutes long, and the other 45% are going to be under 4 minutes. So they don't happen all the time, but when they do, they're pretty cool, and it's pretty cool to see that in a map like this. And before we move on to the starting locations and the target isolations, etc. and so forth, I'd like to bring up one simple thing, and that's a big special thank you to Colonel Oates, or Coates as he's known in the community as. He's a super awesome guy, and he's literally the king of Chinatown. The guy is a Chongqing legend, and he has explored every single inch and nook and cranny of this map. So much so that he's actually compiled a list of notes that I actually was fortunate enough to get from him, that he was gracious enough to lend me, which contributed a lot to me making this video. I was always going back to check his notes just to make sure I was doing things right, and sure enough, they helped me out in more ways than one. So Coates, I can't thank you enough, brother. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all your hard work, and I really admire and appreciate your love for this map as much as you do, because it is a fucking amazing map. If it weren't for Berlin, this would easily be my favorite map in Hitman 3, and regardless, it's still one of my favorite maps in the trilogy, period. So, I hope that once this video is over, other people watching it and learning about this map for the first time can share in that as well, and really get a better concept and understanding of how this map works, because Chongqing has a lot of positivity to offer, and there's a lot to be explored here. So, without further ado, let's get into this bitch. So for the starting locations, all of them are viable in one way or another. If you see a spin where you're going to isolate Hush super quick in the deprivation room, you probably want to start balcony. Also, if garden fork happens to be in the spin, the garden fork is directly behind where you start on the balcony, so you might want to start balcony just to make that melee item grab a little bit easier on yourself. Riverside is still the best suit starting location 99% of the time, just because of the amount of stuff you're able to get done for both targets by starting in this one spot. And I will explain that a little further on. The block guard start is the speedrun strat start for this map. It is a phenomenal starting position. You have a camera box you can shoot out right away. You can isolate Hush within seconds. You can get things started like Hush Falling Object or Hush Electrocution using the satellite lure. Pretty damn quick with this disguise, and you're not trespassing anywhere while you're wearing it in this area. So you got that going for you. The dumpling cook is fantastic if you need dumpling cook in a spin, because it's not exactly the most practical disguise to get. And the board member is right there in case you need him as well. Easy board member grab if you start dumpling cook, so that's a fantastic starting spot. And you still get up to Hush in just enough time to isolate him before he completely screws you over as well. So, good starting position. Probably the shittiest starting spot I would say is Facility Analyst, just because you're not going to use this one very often, given the fact that Imogen is almost always preferred to be isolated via the drone lure, which we'll explain later. And getting up to Hush before the 140, 150 minute mark from this starting location is not very practical. It's easily doable, but really the only time to start Facility Analyst is if you need Facility Engineer disguise and you're not too concerned with isolating Hush right away. Finally, the Street Guard starting position. Another fantastic starting spot for isolating Hush super quick. If you see Street Guard pop up in a spin and you don't have suit in the spin, starting Street Guard might not be the worst option. So as I said, besides the train, every single starting position in this map is viable, aside again from maybe Facility Analyst most of the time. So the first target isolation I'm going to discuss now is Hush. If you start Riverside and then you head basically immediately behind you and do a panic distraction shot for the two street guards that are standing in front of this alleyway entrance. You can enter this area free of charge. You don't have to get frisked or any of that bullshit. What I like to do here is something I found out myself in a Sasso race competition. I took a briefcase and I threw it into this alleyway over here, right where that facility security guy is straight ahead. From there, I like to shoot open the door straight ahead, and I like to shoot the camera above the door so that I got, two birds stoned at once with the whole imaging process going on, because you are going to be pretty much isolating two targets in one go at this strat. You're going to run up these stairs, and you're going to shoot through these two doors in this alleyway here. Now, the reason I threw the briefcase in the alleyway downstairs is because the facility security, once all the commotion is calmed down, is going to see that briefcase and he's going to start heading upstairs with the briefcase in tow, and he's going to drop it off in an item box that's up in this area by the deprivation room. It's perfect in a lot of ways because it gets him out of the way, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later when we talk about the disguises. This strat requires you to knock out Hush and his guard Mogwai before the 150 minute mark. Reason for that is Hush has a ridiculously long cycle. I'm talking like 10 plus minutes to get from where he is now on his phone call with Imogen, then getting into the area with June Lee, the chick, and the other block guard and the other test subject sitting in the chair there, having his discussion with them, going downstairs, talking to the researcher downstairs, coming back upstairs, sitting in the deprivation chair with the test subject. Doing all of that with his rounds takes like 10, 11, 12 minutes. So it's not practical at all to get him in his second cycle. It's just completely out of the question. Don't even fucking try it. Get him in his first cycle before the 1 minute 50 mark, and you will thank yourself. If you are up here a little bit too late, between 150 and the 220, 230 mark, you can peekaboo Hush back into the area where you knock him out like I showed on screen here. But all in all, there's not a whole lot to this strat. Just make sure you watch out for June Lee when you get up here. She's a finicky piece of shit. One of the worst NPCs in the game. I would put her up there with Rima from Mumbai, that stupid bitch. Totally garbage NPC. Hate her in every single step of the way, but if you just keep your eye on her, make sure you memorize her cycles, you'll never be ripped by her and you should be fine. The next isolation for Hush is a little bit later. Say you started Facility Analyst and you want to get up to Hush in the Facility Engineer disguise in just enough time. Well, I would say if you bring a Seeker, you can actually Seeker Hush. He will go into the bathroom with a perfect test subject. You can pull this off between the 250 and about 310 mark. After that, Hush is pretty much in the wind. Unless you get up here even later than that, like around the 6 minute mark, then you can Seeker him out of his chair that he's in with the test subject there in this same room, and he'll head to the bathroom like he did before. I like to Seeker Mogwai as well to get him out of the way. That way I can deal with Hush in the bathroom with the perfect test subject, deal with the perfect test subject as well, obviously, and deal with Mogwai later. Just makes life a lot easier. This is definitely a last resort type of strat with Hush. Most of the time, you still want to get Hush before the 150 mark, no matter what. Now, the first and primary isolation, pretty much the only isolation you're going to be doing with Imogen most of the time, is the drone lure. The lure that I recommend is where you just shoot one drone. You can shoot up to 4 drones for this lure to work the exact same way. There's literally no difference between shooting 1 drone and shooting 4. She owns 5 drones and controls the 5 drones that are floating around her area by the street guards and all that. And Hush has a few drones over in his section by the block guards. There is a mission story you can do by shooting out all of the drones, but that's a bit of a waste of time when it comes to roulette, and is only a very, very situational strat that you're not going to be doing for the majority of spins. Certainly not in a match, that's for damn sure. But if you shoot between 1 and 4 drones, again I recommend just the 1, Imogen will stop everything she's doing and she'll start heading upstairs in the facility towards the doors that you saw me shoot open in the video a little bit earlier when I was going up to isolate Hush in the first isolation for Hush. She stops right in front of those doors and she chills there for quite some time. So you have more than enough time to, if you were to say, do the panic strat, throw the briefcase in the alleyway for the facility security, run all the way to the top of the stairs, then shoot out a drone, then grab your stash, shoot open the doors, isolate Hush, do your thing. You got more than enough time to even isolate Hush, get the disguise, get the kill method, kill Hush, come all the way back downstairs, get the disguise for Imogen, and even the kill method for her as well, and kill her while she's been standing on the stairs all this time. She's actually going to be there for quite a while. You do have enough time to play with. So don't stress, but it's a pretty cool strat, I gotta say. She basically isolates herself at the top of these stairs. And if you throw the briefcase down the alleyway like I showed earlier for the facility security guard, you deal with him upstairs, you don't have anything virtually to worry about in this section because there's only the 2 street guards that are looking away from you. And if you have a trank, you can deal with Vincent, which is the facility guard that she has walking around with her all the time. You can just trank him, and then Imogen is yours for the taking. It's really that simple. Very, very cool isolation. Pretty basic to execute. Anybody could do this. And the final isolation for Imogen I'm going to discuss is a very situational isolation that you require a banana for and 2 trank darts. So it's not that practical of an isolation, but it can get you a super, super fast Imogen kill in, say, the facility analyst, facility guard, or facility engineer disguises, just in case you need to deal with her and don't really give a shit where Hush is in his cycle by the time you get upstairs to him. This is a very situational isolation, but if you're following what I'm doing on screen here, you're grabbing the dongle, you're opening the doors with your cameras, all that stuff, you're going to be heading towards Imogen when you start facility analyst. Just remember to grab the banana, like I said, as you start facility analyst. And once you get to this area here, like I'm showing on screen, you're going to plant the banana on this spot here, after you dismantle the screen here with your camera. Then you're going to do a throw distraction for the 1 facility guard that's around the corner. He's going to KO himself on the banana if you do this right. And then you need 2 trank darts. Well, at least 1 anyways. 2 makes it easier, but if you have 1 trank dart, this is just as viable. Trank the guy that I'm doing here, and then as soon as you do that, open the door and trank the guy inside. Either that or you can do a throwing distraction for Vincent, which is the guy inside. That's Imogen's main bodyguard. He's going to see the body outside. He's going to start radioing in. And at that point, you can either just KO him manually and then KO Imogen, or, like I said, just trank him and KO Imogen that way as well. None of these bodies are going to be found, so you're good to go, and you're free to kill Imogen at your own leisure pretty much any time. You're not going to be using this isolation for the majority of spins because the drone lure is just so friggin' powerful. It really does get 2 birds stoned at once, as you can deal with getting Imogen isolated while you're dealing with Hush. And it's just, it's too convenient of a strat not to take advantage of in a roulette spin, especially in a match. But knowing that this isolation exists is definitely going to net you some extra points in future matches when you can learn to identify a spin that requires this isolation to be done on Imogen first before you deal with Hush. So, there you go. Alright, and now we're heading into the disguises, talking about the good shit. So, for the first disguise, we're going to be talking about the block guard. The block guard is all over the Hush area, so you really have your pick of the litter, just like every other guard disguise from every other map. But the easiest ones I can suggest are these 2 guys in this room just off to the side of the deprivation room where Hush and Mogwai and everybody is. Just KO them both by any means and take their clothes, you're good to go. There's not really a whole lot to this one. There are definitely easier block guards to get in the facility as well, but these are the main two I can suggest. The other one off to the side with the researcher in the side deprivation room. I can't remember what the name of that one is, where Hush talks to the researcher. He's an easy one to get as well, so you do have options. Next up, we have the board member. There is only one board member on the map, so it is a unique disguise. And it's actually pretty interesting how you grab this disguise. So you get into the restaurant. If you don't know where it is, I'm going to show you on screen here. It's basically exactly where you would start as dumpling cook, but you can enter it from the front side with the front door entrance, or you can go in through the back like I am here with the window entrance. It's really up to you. Get into the kitchen, grab a throwing item from the kitchen, and throw it at this far section of this little spot here. No matter what, the board member is going to be the one that goes and investigates the throw. It's really cool how this works. Board member comes in, you chuck something at his head, you KO the guy, you grab his clothes right there, and the kicker is you got to wait until the chick that he was talking to walks in through the door and turns the corner and walks further into the kitchen. Once she does that, you are free to pass. But if you do not wait for her to come into the kitchen and turn around the corner, and you run past the door, before she enters the door herself, she will actually head turn and see the board member's body. So if you're going to be impatient, make sure you trank the guy. Otherwise, be patient for a couple of seconds, and you don't need to use any resources for this KO. It's all good. Very easy disguise grab. A lot of people don't seem to know about this one, but there you go. Board member, easy peasy. For the dumpling cook, there are a couple dumpling cooks I can suggest on the map that are probably the easiest ones to get. There is a free dumpling cook disguise on the map, however, although it is a little bit out of the way, and you're not going to be really going for it very often in a spin because it does take a little more time than what we're going to do here. These two guys chilling off to the side, to your right as you start Riverside, are just smoking a cigarette, talking about how the chef outfit is really uncomfortable, etc. and so forth. As soon as you hear that dialogue, you know that these are the right guys. You can trank them both and grab one of the clothes, or you can throw distract one of them away and trank the other one like I'm showing here. Take that guy's outfit and then get out of there before the other one turns around. Or you can trank and KO the other one. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you're not getting caught by any of the wandering NPCs in this area, as there are a couple of chicks that walk past this area with umbrellas that can potentially see the bodies or see you change clothes. So just be smart, hammer on your instinct, and you'll have no issues with this disguise grab. The facility analyst might be the most annoying disguise in the map to get, if, well, maybe aside from the facility engineer. But facility analyst is not a very good starting position for this map. So if you do see it pop up in a spin, you're going to start facility analyst just to make things easier for yourself, which inherently makes the spin a little more impractical, just because the starting location does suck. But if you do want to get the facility analyst disguise, I can suggest this guy over here. That's a free disguise pretty much. He's just chilling off on the computer here in this side room down the facility. You do need to do some MacGyver shit into this area because you don't have a dongle to access the doorway, so you're going to have to shimmy across this area like I showed on screen here and get up and then do some camera work and all this crap. It's really cool how this works because the camera is actually useful in this frickin' map, unlike pretty much every other map in the whole friggin' game, except for maybe little bits and pieces of Dubai now and then. Head in the direction of this guy here, KO him by any means necessary, and then you can box him, swap outfits, and you're good to go. There's also a facility analyst guy that's chilling in the same room as where you would start facility analyst. He's completely free. You can just KO him and move his body off to the side just a little bit, just for safekeeping, even though I don't think his body will ever be found, even if you just leave him there, but I like to be safe. There's also a closet in here you can box him in, but this guy is as free as it gets. So KO this prick, grab the outfit, away you go. The facility engineer is the furthest disguise away from pretty much everything. It's very far out of the way, so if you see it pop up in a spin, this is probably the most impractical disguise on the map to get, and there's only one method of getting this disguise that's very consistent and makes the disguise quite easy to grab. You're going to get to the very bottom floor where you see the big yellow O2 on the wall there, in this area here, down exactly where I am here, right past the break room area. And what you're going to do here is you're going to throw something at the wall just beside this locker. If you throw something and the facility guard is closest to you, then you're obviously going to attract him, and you have to KO him and then throw something else to attract the engineer. But do that, and eventually the engineer will come out. Of course, if the guard is not near you and you do it, then the engineer will be the only one to come out, and that just makes the grab a little bit faster. Regardless, it's the same process for both NPCs. Swap outfits, and away you go. Facility engineer, fantastic disguise, has free traversal pretty much anywhere in the facility, and has almost no enforcers in the map. The facility guard is there's not really anything to it. You can get pretty much any of the guards on the map that you want. They're all in the facility. However, the one that you're going to be going for 99% of the time is Vincent. Even if you have a hush kill where you need to be dressed as a facility guard for the kill, I would still recommend using Vincent for the kill just because it's just that much easier to deal with. Facility guard hush is never a good combination, but it is what it is. Once you've isolated Imogen using probably the drone lure, I would say, then you just grab Vincent, the facility guard's outfit, and away you go. Nothing really to it. It's probably the best disguise in the map, as you're allowed to go pretty much anywhere except for Hush's area, and that's all there is to it. Facility security, however, is a little bit more complicated to get. There's really one guy on the map that's actually very viable for getting. He's the guy that wanders around and smokes in the alleyway, where I threw the briefcase several times in this video already that you've seen. You can choose to knock him out in the alleyway, obviously, and just take his clothes there. He's very easy to grab that way. However, my favorite way is, like I said, you throw the briefcase in the alleyway after you cause that panic. You get upstairs, you shoot the drone out, you go isolate Hush, you deal with all that bullshit, grab the killing methods for Hush and the disguise for Hush and all that stuff. By the time you're done all that and you're ready for Imogen, then the facility security guy will have your briefcase in tow and will be walking towards your direction upstairs. It's pretty awesome how this works because there's only one item box for guards to put guns and items that they find in, and it happens to be up in this Hush area. So this is great. You get to deal with this guy to where his body can't be found, because if he gets knocked out up here, no one's going to find his body. No one's going to find his body downstairs because he's not downstairs, and you get the disguise perfectly in time for either Imogen if you need the kill, or if you needed it for Hush. This is a great way to deal with Hush and get the disguise at the same time. So if you see it pop up in a spin, there you go. The most practical homeless person, I would say, is if you start Riverside, you do a 180 and you go straight. You pass the alleyway that you'd have to panic to get inside of, and you go towards this truck over here. On the side of the truck, right by the tail end, you're going to cause a throwing distraction. One of the homeless guys is going to come over and investigate, and then you can just KO him by any means necessary, box him, switch disguises, and away you go. Homeless person is another one that's not the most practical disguise to get, especially if you need it for the Hush kill. But you have tons of time to go over, grab this disguise, get back into the area, panic the area, go all the way upstairs, and isolate Hush before the 150 mark if you're quick. So it's not the worst disguise on the map. It's just a little more time consuming than some of the other easier disguises on the map. The perfect test subject is very simple. There's only one of them on the map. He's located in the bathroom of the deprivation room where you would seeker Hush, like I explained earlier, where Hush goes to puke. Very, very simple. Just KO him by any means necessary, box him, and change outfits. He's allowed in the deprivation room and in some parts of Hush's area, but for the most part, he's not really allowed anywhere aside for the main street, obviously, where all the pedestrians are. So he's kind of a trash disguise, but he is unique disguise, and when it comes to Hush kills in a spin, perfect test subject is always ideal to see because you know it's going to be a very, very fast Hush kill. Now, for the researcher, there are a couple options here. The one NPC that's off to the side of the deprivation room there, where he's tinkering around with the shit that he's tinkering around with. I don't exactly know what he's doing here. He's in a room with a block guard, and off to the side on the shelf over there is a Tonto, so that's how you know you're in the right room. You can knock out this guy, then knock out the block guard. I would say box them both if you're not willing to KO Hush just yet, but if you do KO Hush and Mogwai, you can just leave these bodies here. Switch into the researcher, and away you go. Simple as that. Very easy disguise grab. But there's also a free researcher disguise directly below this room here. You're going to head down the ladder right past the ventilation system here, and you're going to pass the one propane tank that's on the map, and you're going to go through these doors here. Straight ahead, there's another door, and then to the left of that door is yet another door that goes into an area where you will see the researcher disguise just sitting on the ground, ready for the taking. Most of the time, I can recommend the free disguise. It really all depends on timing issues. If you think it's faster to get the NPC, then by all means do that. Otherwise, free disguise is just as practical, and both of them work just as well. And finally, the street guard. There are a number of street guards on the map that you can choose from. Obviously, it's a guard disguise, so you have your pick of the litter, like always. And there is a free street guard disguise in the arcades. But again, like the dumpling cook, where that disguise is in the apartments, it's a little bit kind of out of the way. You're not ever really going to go for the street guard disguise. In fact, that's probably even more impractical than if you were to go for the free dumpling cook disguise, because you can still get the free dumpling cook every now and again, but the free street guard is almost always just forget about it. So the best ones I can recommend are probably in this alleyway here, where you would isolate Imogen upstairs. Just do a throw distraction by this dumpster over here for a random street guard. As long as you're in the appropriate disguise, you can stay out in the open. Otherwise, keep yourself hidden until he goes and investigates. KO him, dump him in the box, switch outfits, and away you go. Street guard is done. Nothing really to it. Definitely the best way to go when it comes to this outfit. Alright, and that does it for the disguises. Holy shit. There's only 11 disguises in this map. It's pretty crazy. Can't believe there's only 11 disguises. Although that's one disguise more than we had in Berlin, and that map is like 3 times the size of this one. So I feel like when it comes to disguises, Hitman 3 is a little bit lacking in that regard. I mean, what have we had so far? Like Dubai with like 14 disguises or something, or 12 disguises or whatever. I know Mendoza's got around 14, but we'll talk about that piece of shit next time we do the next video in the series here. But considering in Season 1 we had Sapienza with 25 disguises, and we had Miami in Season 2 with 29 disguises, not to mention several other maps that range in the high teens, early 20s amount of disguises, it's kind of a bummer to just go from that to Hitman 3, where most of the maps have, mid-double digits. Kind of lame, but, you know, it is what it is. Not a big deal. Hopefully the new map coming out in July, that's right, Ambrose Island in July, super hype, has a few more disguises than what we've got here so far, but it's not so bad. The disguises in this map are super fun and super memorable, not that easy or intuitive to get when you're first learning how to get them a lot of the time. So there's a lot of fun to be had here when getting these disguises. So, good times, Chongqing. Fucking good times no matter what. Anyways, we're gonna move on now to the spin demonstration, which is one of the most enjoyable parts of these videos every time. Doesn't matter if it's me making the video or if it's you watching the video. According to the general consensus from people that I've talked to, the spin demonstrations are always the most fun time, for myself included. So that's awesome. Super glad you guys dig this part because it definitely helps in the learning process a lot. So here we go. Let's see what we got. All right, and for this spin, we have Hush must be killed with an SMG dressed as the facility's security, and Imogen must be killed with a falling object dressed as facility engineer. So, pretty damn cool spin. I'm really stoked about the facility engineer disguise as well as the Imogen falling object. I get to demonstrate that. It's going to be great because a lot of people have still no idea how to execute this kill. And I'm glad to be able to help people out with this one, because there is a trick to it, and it is 100% foolproof once you get used to it, and once you learn the timing, everything just falls nicely into place. So it's going to be nice to show everybody how this kill is done. For this spin, there's no question I'm opting to start Riverside, because in my personal opinion, that is the best starting location in the map for most spins, but definitely for this one in particular. So we're gonna bring with us a Trank, a Snail for shits and giggles, an SMG to be able to maneuver the map properly, and of course a Seeker for the Imogen falling object kill, which I will showcase in just a bit here. Let's see how we do. Hopefully this is a one and done, because it's a pretty fucking sick spin.
Have you seen a gull around?
Okay, so we're going to be executing the strat that I've talked about several times already. So, Panic these bitches over here, and you're gonna toss this briefcase into the alley like a daisy. It's a perfect. So do that thing. That's already taken care of. The facility engineer. Oh no, facility analyst. Facility dumpling cook. Facility security. That fucking so stupid. So security is a lower pay grade than guard, even though security guards exist. I don't know. What, so do those guys make like a shit ton of money since they have both titles? Hell no, they don't, because my buddy's a security guard and he doesn't make dick. So anyways, you're going to be grabbing your stash from that spot right there. I brought a Seeker, obviously, like I said. Need that for Imogen. Put the Seeker on that little area there. It's probably the best stash spot that most people are going to be using for most spins, just because it's so practical. It's on the way to Hush. It's on the way back down to Imogen. Whatever. You're going to be going up here 99% of the time for these spins anyways. So, great stash spot. We're going to be chilling here and knocking out Mogwai. Grab his pistol and drag his body to this area over here. Now, the convenient part about this KO for Hush is he hasn't quite triggered the conversation with Imogen yet. So, don't need to worry about target lockdowning Imogen. What we're doing there is, before we KO Hush, we were looking over to our right just to make sure that June Lee, the stupid chick in the other room there, wasn't looking in our direction when we KO Hush, because there's a very small opening when you KO Hush in the little, I don't know, the visual area there where you can be spotted by Julie, and it's a huge pain in the dick. So she does that every fucking time. She always catches you, unless she's walking over to the test subject to have a conversation with him. That's when you got to time the KO. So just keep an eye on her, and you're good to go. Hush is KO'd and isolated. Now we are waiting on the facility security guy, and he's right on cue. I picked up this brick just for shits and gigs, just to have something to throw at him that isn't going to be staying in my inventory for very long. There you go. Bada bing, bada etc. We take the clothes and bring out our camera, and now our SMG. Perfect. So, very nice, easy Hush kill. Although the facility security combination for Hush isn't always the most practical, because it can be a little bit of a pain in the ass to get to him in time to isolate, unless you do the briefcase strat with the facility security guy. So, there's always that. So there you go, Hush down, having a bit of a server delay here, because it still shows that he's alive, but that's weird. Whatever. Shooting out a drone here. There you go. Finally killed Hush. Some serious delay there, but it be what it do. So I shot the drone out, and I waited until Hush was dead, because I have to go all the way down to the bottom floor of the facility to get the facility engineer disguise, right? Like I've already explained. So I need Imogen to take her sweet ass time. But I do want you to notice this. Since I shot the drone at a very specific time, more specifically the before 3:30 mark. If you shoot it before the 3:30 mark, Imogen is going to be chilling in the core, where she's literally just walking out of right now, as you see on screen. She just left the core room, which is the bottom area of the facility, the lowest possible floor. I don't have access to that area right now, but she just came out of there. Now, she's going to be walking up the stairs. If I turn to my right now, like I'm doing, you'll see that she's walking up that area. That area she's walking up to right now is where you can actually isolate her and Vincent. They chill behind a wall. No one can see them. It makes spins in this map extremely quick if you do that exactly the way I just did it right now. Say this was like, I don't know, in a Hush, exactly the way he is right now, and Imogen, facility guard, neck snap or some shit, the spin will be over by now. It's crazy. So, yeah, you could just isolate her there, and then there's an exit right beside you with her dongle that you can steal. So it's fucking sick. Very, very handy strat to know. Makes a lot of spins in Chongqing sub 4 minutes. I recommend a lot of people do that strat. Shoot the drone before the 3:30 mark, and you will make life fantastic for yourself. Anyways, we took the facility analyst disguise because I'm not allowed in this area as a security. I'm only allowed in here as a guard, engineer, or analyst. But I need the engineer disguise. So, doing the engineer grab right now, as you saw on screen. Super duper simple, nothing to that. It was nice that the facility guard that wanders that area was not in the vicinity when I threw the thing at the wall, so I only had to throw one time just to get the attention of the engineer there. So that disguise grab was nice and quick. There's a camera box to my left here. You can shoot that out if you want, but I don't really care. I've already shut out all the cameras. Getting server lag again because it's just registering that I got the KO and got the fresh disguise, even though I got that like 150 seconds ago. Weird ass game today. But that's all there is to it for the disguises. Now, get Imogen sick. That's key. There we go. Got the secret shot on Imogen. Just leave Vincent alone. He ain't hurting nobody. And right here is where I'm going to be taking the shot. I'm going to be sitting in this exact spot behind these crates, and I'm going to aim at the furthest chandelier away from where I am right now. Now, Imogen is going to be walking towards the Riverside starting entrance. Now, as long as I don't miss this shot, the trick here is, when she walks onto the flat surface, once she's walked up the first flight of stairs, she'll walk onto a flat surface and take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, shoot, boom. Good. Guaranteed kill every time. As soon as you see her level out on the flat surface, you count 3 steps that she takes, and you shoot, and it kills her every time, never even touches Vincent. You are good to go. That is all there is to it with the falling object kill. Very, very epic strat. Big thank you to Frody7 Of course, the dude that, has every fucking strat, we're taking another one out of his book. That is 100% a Frody strat. So, thank him for that one. I didn't invent that, he did. So, fuck yeah. Sick fucking strat makes image and falling object a friggin' breeze. So there you go, Silent Assassin, suit only, etc. and so forth. Couldn't have done it better myself. Okay, and that is it for Chongqing. I can't believe it. We're 18 episodes in, and we have only one episode so far left to go until the entire trilogy is done. Of course, Ambrose Island does come out, like I said earlier, in July of 2022. That's this year, in case you're watching this video in the future. So there will be a 20th episode guaranteed, as long as Ambrose Island is the kind of map that we can actually play in a roulette competition, because if it's like Hawke's Bay or Romania, that would really suck, because then we'd be stuck with 19 episodes in this series, and it would be a little bit of a bummer if that map comes out and everybody's hyped for it, and all of a sudden there's no roulette because it's like a one-target map that's a straight line or some bullshit like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. But in the meantime, episode 18, Chongqing, is done. I can't believe it. Thank you very much, everybody, for the support. I'm sorry this one took so damn long. I've had a lot of crazy shit going on in my life these days, so it's really nice to be able to finally get another episode out, because I have been wanting to get this one out for quite a while now. I love this map. I fucking love this map. It is such a great time. I really hope people watch this video and find their appreciation with Chongqing as well, because this is a freaking phenomenal map. Take some time, explore, walk around the map. I didn't even run the first time I was in this map. I took my sweet ass time and I walked around this map the first time I decided to explore it, and I just took in the scenery and delved into what this map is, and it really made me fall in love. Everything from the aesthetic to the contrast between the facility and the slums area, the differing changes in score. When you get down to the facility, the music becomes menacing. When you get back up to the slums and you're back into the neon lights with the rain coming down on you, you get into almost a choir-esque style of music that's just haunting, but at the same time calming and soothing. It's everything that a Hitman map should be rolled into one, minus, we could have a few more targets or something like that. Maybe there are a few more NPCs, a couple more disguises. Really, that's the only thing I could say about this map that is lacking in any way, and that could potentially improve the map. But then it's Chongqing. It's amazing as it is. Would those things really benefit it? Who knows? Anyways, next time we are going to be discussing my least favorite map in the Hitman trilogy, even over Dartmoor. Yes, Dartmoor takes a hot steamy shit over Mendoza. Mendoza is garbage. There's really nothing to be said about it besides the fact that it's trash. I don't like it. There's like 3 people in the whole community that think it's a good map besides those weirdos. I'm looking at you, Pidgey and Chrome, etc. Map's a piece of shit. It's just the way it is. So, I'm not going to have very nice things to say about that map when we get there, but in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me out. I do appreciate everybody watching these and giving me the love. And I'm so happy to hear that so many people are getting a lot of help from these. So, let's keep her going. One more episode in the main trilogy line. I can't believe we made it this far. So until next time, keep rocking out and keep gaming.